Recently on my shorts feed, I did a series about Chief Tuscaloosa and Hernando de Soto. De Soto's expedition was the first recorded exploration of the interior of what we now call the Deep South. The results of that encounter set the stage for a 400-year event that would see the native population go from 18 million people in 1500 to roughly 300,000 in 1900. I'm your host, Stu Donald. Let's head to the Delta. According to NativeAmericans.org, Tuscaloosa was a cacique, or paramount chief, of the Tuscaloosa, a Mississippian chiefdom located in what we today know as Alabama. His birth year is unknown, but he died in 1540. The name Tuscaloosa means black warrior in the Western Muskegon language. His province included a series of villages, of which most were located along the rivers Coosa and Alabama. Each village had its own chief who was a vassal to Tuscaloosa. According to contemporary sources, Tuscaloosa was very tall, muscular, and lean. Some chroniclers even claimed that he was 1.5 feet taller than the Spaniard. The city of Tuscaloosa in Alabama is named for him. Some reports set Tuscaloosa's height at over 7 feet. He was said to be powerfully built, yet lean and agile. With jet black hair and an intelligent, stately visage, there is little wonder that he was the most revered chief of the region. But from the day he was born, he was on a collision course with history. In May of 1539, 9 Spanish galleons commanded by Hernando de Soto sailed into Tampa Bay to begin the first expedition of what is now the Deep South. According to Britannica.com, de Soto was a Spanish explorer and conquistador who earned his stripes in the conquest of Central America and Peru. But it is the expedition of Florida for which he is best remembered. De Soto spent his youth in the family manor house at Juarez de los Caballeros. His parents intended him to be a lawyer, but in 1514, while still in his teens, he told his father of his desire to go to sea. The Florida expedition spent that first winter at the small native village of Appalachia. From there, they moved northward through Georgia, then westward through the Carolinas and Tennessee, led by native guides whom they abducted along the way. Near Lookout Mountain, De Soto turned southward into Alabama and headed towards Mobile Bay, where they expected to rendezvous with their ships. Destiny had different plans. After making their way by horse from Florida north into Tennessee, De Soto's expedition turned southeast into the land of the Alabama. Many were the stories of the great cacique Tuscaloosa, and De Soto was determined to meet the man. On October 9th, they crossed the Tallapoosa River and made camp very close to Tuscaloosa's village, Attahachie. De Soto dispatched a messenger requesting a meeting. Tuscaloosa responded that the expedition could approach whenever De Soto wanted to. The following day, the expedition entered the village, and De Soto was brought to see the great chief. Attahachie was a large fortified community with a grand plaza. Tuscaloosa, adorned in the dress of a man of his stature, was seated on high cushions under a portico on top of an earthen mound. After the hospitality of a feast and dancing concluded, De Soto demanded that they were provided with bearers and women. Tuscaloosa replied that he was used to being served, not to serve him. Suddenly, the invaders sprang to action, taking the chief hostage. Relenting to spare his people, Tuscaloosa agreed to accommodate De Soto's demands, but to do so, they must travel to the great village of Mabila. It was a trap. In autumn of 1540, an expeditionary force of 600 or so Spaniards led by Hernando de Soto and involuntarily accompanied by Chief Tuscaloosa approached the fortified village of Mabila. Hidden within were nearly 3,000 warriors awaiting the command to attack the invaders. A skirmish between a Spanish officer and an indigenous man erupted into chaos. At first, the natives overwhelmed the Europeans, but soon the Spanish rallied, and bolstered by their advanced technology, gunpowder and armor, left most of the inhabitants of Mabila dead, and their town burned to the ground, its location lost to history. But its legacy lives on through the river, delta, bay, and city that reflect its name, Mobile. Native tribes are represented by many of the rivers in the Mobile-Tensaw Delta. The delta is formed by the Alabama River, which is named after the Alabama or Alabamu, a southeastern people of the Muskogee Creek Confederacy. Their homelands were on the upper Alabama River. It joins with the Tombigbee River, which is a Choctaw word meaning box maker or coffin maker, to form the Mobile River. The Mobile River is named for the Mobile tribe, which may have been descendants of the people who lived in the fortified town of Mabila. Additionally, the delta is made up of the Tensas River, which gets its name from the historic indigenous Tensas people who were more closely related to the Natchez people. Both are considered descendants of the Plaquemine culture. And finally, the Appalachie River is named after the Appalachie, a woodlands tribe who lived mostly in the Florida Panhandle, but also hunted and fished in the delta. Many tribes once called the Mobile-Tensas Delta home. The Alabama were a member of the Muskogee Creek Confederacy. The tribe now resides mostly on reservations in Oklahoma and Texas. The Appalachee hunted and fished throughout the Delta. The remaining 300 Appalachee descendants now live in Louisiana. Once revered as the Spartans of the lower Mississippi Valley, the Chickasaw are now headquartered in Oklahoma. Arguably the most adept farmers, the Choctaw even processed extra crops for sale and trade. Although many Creek followed the Trail of Tears to Oklahoma, roughly 2,500 Creek still live on the Delta at the Porch Reservation near Atmore. The Mobilians occupied the area that would become Alabama's first city, Mobile. The Tensas were driven out of their home in the Delta by the Chickasaw and relocated to Louisiana. It is important to note that the Apache, led by Geronimo, lived in exile on the Delta for 7 years before being forced onto an Oklahoma reservation. Well, here I am in Dapne, and I am at Fastime's, and I cannot tell you how long I have been coming to this gas station. It's got to be at least 30-something years. But let's take a look at what we got. Oh, a biscuit and a thigh. Oh wow, really light, really buttery. Usually when you go to a gas station and get a biscuit, they've been there for a while, they're really dry and hard. This one is perfect. Oh, best piece of chicken right here, the thigh. In addition to the great food inside Fastime's, in the parking lot, you'll also find Small Smokehouse Barbecue. And man, is this stuff good. How good is it? Every bit as good as you think that the barbecue would be, coming from a trailer in the parking lot of a South Alabama gas station.
Hey, Greasy Chuck here. Why don't you throw old Stu a bone and click like and subscribe? He'd sure appreciate it.